And they say sequels are always great to originals, but of course we had to gab about it. Welcome back to Gabbin with Oof, everybody. I am your friendly neighborhood Oofman. And like I said, it is a sequel to episode 20. Thank you all who watched live or on demand. Appreciate it. Welcome to episode 21, where we're going to keep gabbing more about the Michael bio. I can talk about Michael forever, but we're not going to do that because, well, just can't. But now I have my brother from a different mother, my many brothers from a different mother joining me right now. PapaGino is in the house. Gino, how are you doing, my man?
I am doing well. I don't know what happened to my lighting, but something is off. Let's see if that
Hmm.
works. Okay, maybe. I don't know. But I'm doing
You look
well.
very, you look very, you look
Go
very
ahead.
tannish.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if
No,
that's
you, so
the light. I don't know. It's pretty early in the day, Florida time. It's 6 o'clock, but the sun doesn't set till like 8:30 now, which is
right.
pretty crazy.
Well, I do appreciate you coming on, Gino. Like I said, all the time we tend to 99.9% of the time agree of things. So it's cool that someone else checked out the Michael bio. Like I said, for those, check out episode 20, my live edition. I gave you basically everything I had to say about the biopic. At the time I only saw it twice. I have seen the movie count them 3 times now in the theater, tying my number one. Well, tying my number two, I watched Captain America: Civil War 3 times in the theater, and I saw Home Alone in the theater 3 times. The record stands right now 2017 Power Rangers movie at 5 times, 5 for each Ranger. But yeah, so before we get into the nitty gritty, Gino, overall, what did you think of the biopic?
Okay, so it's a biopic, right? It's a
Yep.
biopic about a musician,
Yep.
and they all kind of follow the same pattern, for better or for worse.
Mm-hmm.
Their childhood, they hit it big, and then before the third act, there's some conflict, whether it's drugs, family, money, whatever the situation is, and then we end on a high note, performance, whatever. And so, and as you mentioned in your review, it didn't really throw a lot of surprises out there. It wasn't like something you could really spoil and things like that. But for
Agreed.
what it was, I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it.
Awesome.
And but again, it is just a musician's biopic, which a lot of the stuff people you kind of already know because he's so famous. But I still agree that the movie deserved to have been made. The fact that they got anything out of other than a disaster out of this movie is nothing short of a miracle, because you mentioned it on your episode 20 talking about the movie while you were live, that this whole movie was made, and it was, from my understanding, basically pseudo centered around the one court case that the settlement said you're not allowed to address our court case in any future movies. And that's not the filmmaker's fault. That's not the studio's fault. It's the Michael Jackson estate's fault. And and whether, for right or for wrong, they had to change the movie, and theoretically you could try and do something similar, have another court case, have another allegation, whatever. But the way this movie was set up, it ended before all of that. So those people out there that are complaining that stuff was omitted are kind of freaking stupid. And I'm trying not to swear here. I'm trying to be, but I'm going to get Mean Gino a little bit here for a second.
That's
because
fine. Do it.
you mentioned the Rotten Tomatoes score, and I'm like, come on, this is like a great enough movie, but it's 39% with 267 reviews. And now a lot of people, they either don't know how Rotten Tomatoes works, not you do, of course, but they don't really know how it works. It's either a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That's it. Thumbs up or a thumbs down. If it's a thumbs down, it goes down. So 39% of the critics gave it a thumbs up. So that could be 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. But the popcorn meter, which is the audience, is 97%. And did I think the critics were going to be 97% with it? No. Because it is just a pretty paint by numbers biopic at the end of the day. But what I like to do when I see something that kind of doesn't make sense to me, and you address this, so everybody go check out the other video too if you haven't seen that video. Very well done by Oofman, all by himself. Oofman is the Michael expert, and that will be tested a little bit later on. Stay tuned. So I like to go in and look at the reviews, like look at them in and of themselves, right? You don't just look at the whole totality of it. Like I like to read them, or at least a little blurb. Like if you don't know, if you can click on Rotten Tomatoes and you can click on the score, and it will give you a bunch of people who reviewed it, critics or people like us, the audience, where you actually did go report that your love for the movie. But they'll give you like a 1 sentence, 2 sentence, 3 sentence little blurb, and then you can see the full review. But like these things, like where people are like, what it left out, lower than average, successful, more cynically dishonest, unflinching truth, as rarely as lucrative as flashy feel good puff piece, like F+. This person said scenes with Jackson playing Twister with bubbles or learning how to sea walk feel like future highlights of a parody built like brand management, not a biopic. Like everybody is mad at this movie. The people that don't like this movie, for the most part, there's no, only a Sith deals in absolutes, but shout out to Star Wars Week. But everybody seems to be upset that they didn't address the darker side of his character. First of all, the movie ended before that all happened. They have him rubbing Peter Pan's like lips in the book, and you see his love for children and things like that, and whatever. But there's a sequel coming, and the sequel has been known. So yes, you should judge every movie on its own, not based on what you might see. But if you wanted to see these allegations and all this stuff come up, well, guess what? The movie ended before there. It's a biopic. You mentioned you need to do a whole series of TV show to really tell his life story. He lived to a certain age, which is one of the trivia questions, so I'm not going to address it right now. But he has a lot that he's done in his life. And some biopics, they cherry pick the good things. They might address 1 or 2 of the bad, like they addressed his issues with his family and his private life and things like that. But if they wanted to, they could have just done all the, it could have just been about him and the formation of the Jackson 5. It could have just been about him making Thriller. And all this stuff happened before his allegations happened. He doesn't even have Neverland Ranch yet. Where were they going to fit this allegation stuff in? The movie was already over 2 hours long.
Exactly.
So, and these are some of the points that you mentioned, but I just remember watching and I'm thinking like there's no way the critics are panning this movie this bad. But then there are a lot of good reviews up here, but like lionizing, it fails basically every aspect of a biopic. Like that person doesn't even have their own freaking picture up on this thing. It's a picture of a freaking Lego character. So like, who are these critics that, whatever. And then we go to top critics and it's like a lot more negative from the top critics, but like, it's just, they didn't give us a sense of who Michael Jackson was behind closed doors. Like, I left a comment on your video and I was this isn't a documentary.
No, it's not.
Movies are entertainment and they're made to be entertaining. And guess what, guys and girls? Michael was entertaining. Say what you want about what you wanted to see. Oh, the people didn't. Jafar looked exactly like Michael. So you really can't use that here. But in biopics, it doesn't matter if the person really looks like the person. All that matters is telling a good story with that person's life based on true events. not a documentary. You want documentaries. Oofman mentioned plenty. There are plenty Michael Jackson documentaries that you can go and you can watch and you can enjoy hearing about the allegations, which pretty sure he wasn't found guilty in any of it, by the way. But that's why we still are able to make this movie and he's not canceled and his music's still all over the place. Like, if you went into this movie wanting to see, maybe they even wanted to see something happened that he was alleged to have done. It's like, you're going into this movie for the wrong things. Maybe you need to get some help. Maybe you need therapy. Maybe you're a sicko. All these things. Like, did we really think they were going to do like the South Park episode and show him in bed with children and blah, 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 blah? Come on, guys.
Yeah, ridiculous.
It's so utterly ridiculous that, like, I'm going to rip the sleeves off of my jacket to rage out over this. Like, listen, you watched the movie, you didn't enjoy it, whatever. You have your merits to believe it does or does not, but not liking a movie because of what's not in it. Like, what is this, Marvel? What is this?
Yeah.
DC? Oh, the comic book does this and did some movie. For the love of God, their entertainment, and they were going to address that stuff, but it had to be pulled and then split into two movies. I guarantee they're going to get that all in the second movie. So save this video, thumbnail it, whatever you want to do, because when we do Gabbin with Oof, probably episode 100 or whatever after Michael 2 comes out, and all of the allegations are in there, and his death, and his vitiligo turning him completely white, and the blanket situation where holding this kid out the window, like, that happened. We all know it happened. If you want to see that, you're probably going to see it in the number 2. But guess what? I would bet those same people who had a problem that this stuff wasn't in the first movie are going to say that the second movie was bad too.
Most likely.
Mm-hmm. It's almost akin to wrestling fans, which is what has brought us together originally. It's just infuriating, Oofman.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I thought of that, how reading the reviews, like, it's just like wrestling fans, like, they're giving us what they want and we're still not well, not me, but many are unsatisfied. And that's one thing I addressed in episode 20 that I want to talk, but you nailed it on the head already, that, good Lord, why would somebody want to go, especially in a Michael film, want to watch the movie and sit there and be like, all right, here come the allegation parts. Like, there's a movie, Freedom, The Sound of Freedom. If you've never heard of it, it's a really mind-blowing movie that addresses things like that. They don't show you the child bad stuff, but the way the movie is made, when those things are happening, the camera does some certain things that your brain goes, okay, something's happening behind closed doors, something's happening in that room that's not appropriate. So, and I think it was on the third time after I saw it, I was saying, like, was that what they wanted to see? Like, Michael with a kid walking in, like, in the hospital or in his home, and then the camera just pans back and we're supposed to be like, is this, like, who goes into a movie looking for that stuff? So that's where some critics call it a fluff piece, like you said, because they didn't address it. But they didn't address it because, like you said, the timeline didn't let it. First of all, again, yes, through the law, they couldn't show it. And so they're like, all right, they had to flip a 180, had to reshoot the third act, and it ended in 88. And like you said, on its way, because they kept teasing it. I mean, it's been 2 weeks already, so this is basically spoiler talk, but whatever. I said it anyway. So he kept reading the book. What did he keep saying? He kept saying when he was in Bubbles, this is my favorite page. What was there? Neverland. So like you said, even if obviously every movie, well, we spoke about Power Rangers, you want to make the money back and then some. The movie hit 300 million already. Whoop, whoop. All right. You knew the sequel was coming. So even that, I don't want to call it a tease, but I'm sitting there again at the third time going like, all right, like, they're always mentioning Neverland. Like, it's going to be shown, but again, movie's only 2 hours and 9 minutes. And what they gave us was, okay, was it a fluff piece? Again, with taking away the allegations, well, besides how Joseph raised the boys, there really wasn't anything that pushed the envelope except that. And again, I think that they addressed it great. The Jackson's American Dream documentary from the 90s, remember that, the 90s kids, that addressed it as well. You didn't see it. Again, you didn't see it because it was, I think, ABC or NBC. aired it, so you didn't see the whooping in the movies. Different story, bigger game, bigger budget. You saw it. But then, like, again, just reading these things of like, oh, the abuses weren't there. Like, why would you go into this movie wanting to see that in the first place? But whatever. Like you say, I digress. Life went on. So, is there anything that, even though we're picking on the people, was there something you were hoping we would have seen? Not necessarily that, excluding the big enchilada itself, but is there anything that you were hoping, like, oh, I wish they would have either shown it or a little bit extra more on that? Because mine, if I had to pick of the many things, maybe just a little bit more on the Motown 25, it would have been cool. Maybe seeing him practice it, like thinking like, not necessarily so long story short, Barry Gordy asked Michael to perform. Michael said no. Barry didn't beg, but he told him, like, look, you think you're a big star now. If you do this, you'll do good. And Michael's like, all right, fine, I'll do it, but under one condition. I want a solo shot. Barry Gordy said yes. Barry Gordy, the founder of Motown. However, the controversial part is Michael performed, as we know, Billie Jean, which just skyrocketed him into the stratosphere, even though he was there already. And so the controversy was that Michael sang a non-Motown song, whatever. I would have liked to seen a little bit of the backstage stuff myself, but that's just the Michael nerd in me. So was there anything from that timeline from 66 to 88 that you would have been like, oh, I wish they would have just either focused more on this, or you would have wanted to see? Because I don't know how much you know of Michael. Like, I don't think you know as much as I do, but I don't know how big of a fan you are.
I'd say that's a pretty accurate assessment that I do not know as much about Michael. I don't know a lot. Like, what I knew about Michael going into the movie is that he was in a group with his family, that for everything, you know, just like existing, they never sought anything out. So just by being alive from 1990 to today, that Michael Jackson was in the Jackson 5. He was the breakout star. He had issues with his father, that he was strict, maybe abusive, whatever. But like, and then he made one of the greatest albums, especially for a Black artist of all time, in Thriller, and honestly, what I wanted to see, I don't know the timeline, so maybe it's not the time for that, but I wanted to see the We Are the World.
That was in it. Yeah, a bunch of that was another thing people would have wished, the We Are the World. But again, I go back to the whole. It was it's a great thing. Yeah. Right. I go back to the whole. Well, two things that I went on someone's Facebook and I added my 2 cents to it. Two things. One, it wasn't a Michael thing per se. It was him, Lionel Richie, Quincy Jones, and all that jazz. And two, they probably, due to legal reasons, probably would have had to get all those artists' permissions to be in the movie, number one. And then number two, find the actor or actress. And then they probably have to get their approval, because again, always have to go back to Jackson's American Dream docuseries. According to reports, the whole entire family picked the people who played the characters in that series. So maybe that's what they had to do. That's why maybe Diana Ross was not in this version, because she was a big factor in Michael's life. So little trivia note there. She was not in the movie, so maybe that's what they had to do with it. But yeah, I think that's one like positive. I don't want to call it a positive negative, but like, oh, what wish we would have seen? Oh, We Are the World. Yeah, We Are the World was 85, 86 around there. But I was thinking those two things. One, they'd have to get all the singers' permissions, and then they would have to probably give the okay to the actor playing them. And two is probably that, again, it wasn't a Michael thing per se, because it was, like I said, him, Lionel Richie, Quincy Jones. So that's just what I have to say about We Are the World.
Sure.
And plus, if anybody wants to see more about We Are the World, there is this awesome talking about a docu-series on Netflix. What's it called? It's just look up We Are the World on Netflix, and it's great. It's behind the scenes. They interview a bunch of people, obviously not Michael because he's gone, but there's a lot of backstage stuff. So for you too, Gino, if you want to see more of We Are the World, check that out.
The greatest night in pop. The greatest night in pop.
Greatest night on pop on Netflix. It's awesome. And again, like I said, lots of behind the scenes. You see them actually making the song. So there's that. Cheap plug, Netflix, if you're watching.
And notice that something I wanted to see in the movie was not there, and I didn't pan it. I'm still looking at these reviews. One of these guys Peter Travers in a cash grab. Like I mentioned it on the review on Tuesday. To call a movie a cash grab, especially as a critic, like, are you like, you literally work in the business? It's a business. It's to make money. Nobody makes a movie to not make money. Nobody makes a movie hoping to lose money. It's all cash grabs. And no movie
Absolutely.
ever in the history of the world, except for maybe Schindler's List, needs to exist. They exist to make money. So other than Schindler's List, I think every other movie on the face of the earth doesn't need to exist. As much as I want to say Avengers absolutely needed to exist. All this stuff, like, it's about making money. If something can make money, if a little blue dog, cartoon dog makes money, they're going to make a movie out of it. That's just, and Michael Jackson's already, the Michael movie, part 1, because it's going to, I guarantee the second one's going to be Michael part 2, even though.
Well, hopefully not. I hope that it's not called Michael Part 2 or Michael 2. Hopefully they give it a nice. I don't. If they use Moonwalker again, that'd be cool. I'd be fine with that,
me, I like the traditional regular name or regular name 1, and then 2, 3, 4. I don't like the subtitled things, because when 100 years from now, when people go back to watch it, well, is Michael the first one, or is Michael Moonwalker the first one? And then you're like having to deal with all this extra research, like John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. Like, why are we doing that? Like Iron Man 1, 2, 3. I know the order. Thor: The Dark World, Thor: Love and Thunder, Thor: Ragnarok. Like, I get it, but like, just the numbers, like, because people aren't gonna like. I shouldn't have to do homework to figure out which one to watch. But $432 million worldwide as of whenever this data was taken from Box Office Mojo, that updates, I think, daily. But like, it's just like, this is going to make a crap ton of money, because people love Michael Jackson, whether you love him or you hate him. Like, people going into this movie wanting to hate him. He's the protagonist of the movie. Not often does a project have the protagonist be very unlikable. And they were going in there for all this unlikable things. I didn't see the one thing that like really hit home with me about Michael, that I wasn't even sure if it was before the 90s or after the 90s. So I was like, maybe We Are the World didn't happen then, but from the expert, you are saying that it would have been in here, but not having the actors and this and that and that, maybe. But they made a whole movie about Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan's shoe, and they showed him for 2 seconds. So so if they want to tell me that they, maybe getting permission and rights and all that stuff, just have people be silhouettes and shadows and whatever. Like, I can't imagine. I mean, maybe they don't want to be associated with Michael's name because, what might have been in the movie and blah, 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 blah. But like, I think that's pretty crazy, because that We Are the World exists and all this stuff, but whatever. You cut things out, but you don't judge a movie based on what's not in there. Like, did you really want to see Michael getting abused more than that one time? All we needed to do is see that one time, see that he never looks his dad in the eyes, like you mentioned, see that he constantly is this power struggle between him. He needs his agent and his lawyer to fire his dad and all this stuff, and the stuff that his mom was doing. You're never going to be. You think she said that when Michael was a full-grown adult to Joe in the movie, "You're never beating somebody again," because he did it one time when Michael was a kid? No, this was very clearly happening throughout his life, all growing up. And you don't need to harp on that. You just need to show it one time so we know that he does this when they get things wrong in rehearsal. Am I supposed to believe? Am I an idiot? And I think, well, after he got spanked, Michael did everything right according to Joe moving forward. Like, come on, people. For the love of God, it's not a documentary. It's a biopic made by his estate, who are probably not going to want to put his name in super bad letters and context. They were going to try and be truthful, but not either way. They could have shown it all and would have upset the Michael Jackson purists who were like, well, he's innocent, so why go through that? They could have not shown anything, and you're going to have people upset like this. But like, to end the movie before they happened in real life and then have problems with, oh, we didn't play this song at the end. It actually did this song and at this moment in time, and they changed it and blah, 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 blah. It's finding reasons to be upset with the movie. Enjoy the movie for what it is. I'll tell you what. The Bob Marley biopic was actual trash. I learned a lot about his life.
I've never watched it, but I've always wanted to. But
it's called One Love. I sat there in the movie theater while the movie happened to me. There's really no plot. It's like the build up to his one album, Exodus or whatever, but it is, but it isn't. It's like 3 different things. It's just kind of like skits of his life almost. And like the acting was well done and for sure, but like it's Hollywood. I expect the acting to be good. Like period. Like come on. Like that's the bare minimum stuff. I expect it to be well acted. It's just like I don't care if the history was switched a little bit, like Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh, he didn't tell his group that he had AIDS right before the first Live Aid concert, blah, 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 blah. He did that another time. Who cares? It's an enjoyable movie, and you walk out singing their songs. I do wish, I mean, to me, they harped a lot on Billie Jean, and I personally don't think that's one of his best songs. I know it put him on the map, and they expressed the importance of it, and they're performing all these things. And I'm like, why are they doing full song performances? Yeah, the music's good. But then I find out from you that Jafar is doing some of the songs. So it's like, okay, they filmed it all. They're putting it all in the movie. I'm fine with that. Like, it gets incredibly frustrating. Like, you want to go see a bad biopic, go watch One Love by Bob Marley. Like, it's like confusingly disorientating. And when I say it happens to me, I don't feel that way about a bunch of movies and TV shows. I just like, it happened to me, and I was like, what? Super unmemorable. Like this movie, super memorable. I didn't know about the Pepsi commercial situation. Like I found out a lot about that, and the stuff that mattered to being in there was in there. His iconic status, his insecurities, his situation with his family, his situation specifically with his dad, his situation with his love for animals, his very clearly love for Peter Pan and Neverland. And like the movie's clearly setting up for the next movie's going to address him having Neverland Ranch and all that stuff. It's just bookmark this video. Oofman, remember when we talked about it? These same people, because this stuff's on the internet. These freaking Peter Travers and all them guys and the gals too. Stephanie, whatever. Didn't capture the essence of Michael Jackson. What? Remember this when they say that they didn't address some of the darker side of his life. When they do, when this whole next movie's a freaking drag, probably, because we're going to address his allegations, which he beat. We're going to address his making his kid fly out his window. We're going to address his murder.
Insaneness. Yeah.
Like, are you going to be happy because you saw all that? Probably not. I would like there to be uplifting music and songs and stuff like that. And I would like to see some of that. But like at the end of the day, I unplugged that. Why did you unplug? My lighting is trash. So anyway, yeah, my light turned off. Maybe that's why. There we go. That's what happens when you buy a $10 light at Goodwill.
It happens.
Anyway, I've said what I needed to say. Don't forget to at me if you're one of those people or critics that I'm name dropping that you have the audacity to be somebody who's in the movie business and then criticize a movie for the word. Somebody saying cash grab immediately makes me think that they're an idiot. Like, so when I hear that, I almost tune out.
Right. It's like a buzzword that you know that if they're going to say it, it's like, oh, forget this. It's like, come on.
Yes, it is a cash grab because it's a business and they have why spend $155 million to make this movie if they're not trying to make their money back? Like, where do they do that at? Well, maybe in your country or your state or wherever, they do things on purpose to lose money. Not here in America and not in Hollywood. So with that being said, I think we should switch to something fun.
Yes, but just real fast, like you said. So with everything, with the third act having be cut off and removed and all that jazz, they already had so much material for the next part. So like we can, like we do with wrestling, we can fantasy book. What would part 2 be like? Well, maybe to bring up your point, maybe it starts again, no spoilers. Right? This is not really a spoiler. It's been 2 weeks already. So the movie starts off in 1988, goes back to 66. Cool. What if this time now it starts with the Dangerous Tour, which is 92 to 93, like the musical, MJ the musical, but maybe they go back to 85, 1985, they're DeLorean, they jump into DeLorean and they go to 85, and maybe it starts off with We Are the World. I don't know. That's the cool thing about when it comes to, when a movie's going to be a sequel, what do you want to see in the sequel? Like real fast, when Batman Begins came out, I thought it was all right. I'm like, hopefully the Dark Knight we didn't know the name at the time. I'm like, hopefully the sequel will be a little bit better, or I wish this comes up. And then when it came out, I think The Dark Knight's my number 2 greatest movie of all time, just my opinion. So as far as like Michael 2, what could happen? It could start with We Are the World and move on from there. Maybe the things we wanted to see in part 1 we'll get in part 2. But like I said, yeah, I think part 2 is going to be I don't want to call it grittier one, but maybe that's the more serious one, because again, we know, if just about enough of Michael that you know how his life is. And today at work, a friend of mine, my coworker, shared an information which blew my mind. So when Michael went up to the Pepsi commercial, which I believe was 84, 85, he was 24, 25 years old. And he shared me, he's like, did you know that Michael's first half of life was from being born to the Pepsi commercial? And then his second half of life was after the Pepsi commercial till his death. And it's like, yeah, he lived to be 50 years old. Yeah, the accident happened right there in the middle of his life. And it's like, again, we're the wrestling nerds. So it's like Shawn Michaels. He had first career. He went away after WrestleMania 13, came back better than ever. Michael, unfortunately, was the reverse. The birth to the Pepsi commercial, that's when Thriller came out. And then again, for those that saw the movie, he didn't want to take the meds, but he unfortunately got addicted to it because the pain was so immense. It hit his nerves. So he was a drug addict. I'll admit it. Yes, Michael was a drug addict. And in the musical, they get into it a lot. Check out MJ the musical for those of you who are Broadway buffs. If they come to your city, please check it out. It takes place from 91 to 93. When he's making his quote unquote return with Dangerous and the Dangerous tour. They address the drug abuses there. Again, no spoiler, but there's a cameraman there recording this for a documentary. And he's like, there's someone's trying to sell me a video of Michael taking pills. And the reporter's trying to get at Michael. Michael doesn't answer it, but he kind of does, but he doesn't. He walks the line. So yeah, so that's just a trivia fact of like half of his life was pre-Pepsi. You can call it pre-Pepsi career and post-Pepsi career. And when my coworker told me this today, I was like, holy shoot, you're right. Yeah, his first half of his career, again, Thriller, the top of the mountain. And then after the Pepsi incident, Bad did sell millions, so did Dangerous, History. But the circus of his life literally exploded from then. So it is, for this Michael fan, it's going to be really interesting how they're going to address all of that post 1988, how they're going to address it. And again, how many sequels would I like? I'll go with maximum 2, part 1 and part 2. Again, we don't need a docu. Like I said, we don't need the MCU 20 movies to tell a story. We don't need that. There are other ways you can learn about Michael. There are websites, there are books. Again, the best one besides the movie is The Jackson's American Dream. The other one, like I said, is MJ the Musical. There is another one called Man in the Mirror. It is, you want to talk about Bob Marley's story was horrible? The Man in the Mirror docuseries made in VH1 is horrific. It's just bad acting, bad everything. So unfortunately it does address some things though in Michael's life. But if I'm not going to apologize for the acting, but it's just bad. No pun intended. But so
I was going to make that, but you're on the roll. So yeah, with the time that we have left, I did pull up some trivia questions because
let's do this.
You are definitely, you're definitely somebody who's a Michael Jackson expert. Like I would take an Oofman taught class on Michael Jackson. I'm going to start you off with some easy ones to really get the brain going. And then we're going to go into ones that I think are difficult.
So if you were on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and it was a Michael question, I'm getting the call.
Yeah. 100%. I was trying to use a song title to respond to that, but I couldn't come up with one quickly enough. So, all right. Where was Michael born?
Gary, Indiana.
On what date? Actually, no, we'll do this one. How old was Michael Jackson when he died?
50.
Yeah, you already got that one earlier too. See if we find one more. How many children did Michael have?
3.
Okay. What religion was Michael?
Well, he first started off as a Jehovah's Witness, then somewhere like in the late 80s, early 90s, he left it. So technically he was a Jehovah's Witness.
That is correct. Hopefully when we clip this into a short, we get the ding sound. So I'm going to do some other ones that I think might be a little bit harder.
Okay.
What was the date that he died? Not the year, but the day, month, day, and year.
Was it? It was June 2009 because I was in California on that date. I want to say it was either the 25th or 29th.
Got it on the first try, 25th.
25th. Okay.
Love it. All right, where is his final resting place?
You know what? It's a cemetery in California, but I have no idea. I don't know.
It is a cemetery in California. We will accept that.
Cool. I don't know the exact name. I know it's close to the public, unfortunately. I would have gone
Glendale,
okay.
Arizona, or California.
Cali.
Sorry. So what year did his solo career begin?
See, that's a trick question because are we talking off the wall or are we talking when he started making solo albums? I know I'm the nerd that has
give me both of them if you got it.
All right. Well, his first solo record as young Michael Jackson came out sometime in the 60s. And then obviously Off the Wall came out in 79.
Okay, well, it says here, and this isn't the be all end all, but it says 1971. But it also says Jackson's album Thriller is the best selling album of what? And then the answer is Thriller. So obviously this might not be the standard bearer of trivia questions. So we'll take that. Another easy one to reset. The group that he was in with his brothers was called what?
Well, technically there were two, the Jackson 5 and the Jacksons.
The Jackson 5, correct. Okay. How many Grammy Awards has Michael received?
I
will accept.
Altogether?
I will accept two different answers.
Let's see. He won, the big one was he won 9. I don't know, 12 or 15?
He had 13 as well as a Grammy Legend Award and a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. So 15 total.
Oh, yeah.
So that does count. I will accept that. Michael Jackson is one of the few artists to have been inducted into what Hall of Fame twice?
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Correct.
Now, you answered this already, but I will ask it again. How many? He tied the record for most Grammys won in a single year. How many did he win that year?
8.
8. Very good. Very good.
No, he set the record. He was tied. Adele tied him.
Carlos Santana, it says here on IMDb, which I do Santana. Take it as a as more true than a Quizlet. But how many American Music Awards did he win?
I have no idea.
It's a lot. It's more than 20.
Oh geez. So if it's more than 20, I'll say 32.
I will accept that as a divisible number of 6, and it is 26. So I will. Your brain is clearly on the right track with that. Let's see here what we've got. In the Jackson family, Michael was child number what?
Oh, geez. All right, here we go. Rebe, Jackie, Tito. I may have the order wrong, but I know his.
All that you need to do is get Michael Jackson's order.
Yeah, I know. So let's see. So.
Yeah.
Oh wait. So no, Janet's 9. Okay, there's 2 answers because again, I'm the nerd guy. So technically, yeah. So technically, there are 10 Jackson kids. Marlon was born with a twin who died a couple days later. So are we counting that? Again, I have to be the nerd.
So what
guy.
number are you locking in, just so I can before I give it away?
Let's see.
I don't want to give it away
Janet,
whether I don't know
Janet,
if we're counting.
Randy,
I just have enough.
So I'm gonna go with. I think he's number 7 of 9.
So it says here 8, but I honestly trust you more than Quizlet. So,
well, they had 9 kids. They had 6 boys and 3 girls. Again, alive. Again, Marlon had a twin who died. So let's go with the 9. They had the 6 boys, the Jackson 5 plus Randy, and then the 3 girls, Janet, Rebe, and Latoya. So that's 9. So
So they
he's
said
got
this says he was the 8th. So maybe I should have
no
cross-referenced this.
Randy and Janet are younger than him. Janet's the baby.
Okay,
So
well
she's 9, then it's Randy is 8, and then
wrong.
I think Michael's 7.
Okay.
I believe he's 7 of 9.
Let's see here. I got a few more, but I'm trying to make sure that they're
accurate.
they're a little bit accurate. What is the skin disease he had called?
Vitiligo.
Good job. Yeah. What are the names of his 3 children?
Prince, Paris, and Blanket, aka BG. Well, actually, he's known as BG now.
Great job. That is really good one. He received the Presidential Humanitarian Award from what president?
Ronald Reagan.
Good job. Yeah, I would have had to send Virtue a message if you got that one wrong. Michael gave $300 million to charity. What is the only other celebrity to give more money to charity?
I have no idea. And whoever it is, God bless him.
Oprah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Sure.
How he sold over how many million albums worldwide?
This is total? Ugh. I'm ballparking it here. Probably 300 million worldwide.
Wow.
Close?
Not even close. 750 million albums worldwide, because following the week of his death, his album sales collectively spiked over 2,000%.
I believe it.
And I will accept the year and the month or the number of the event. What halftime show did Michael Jackson perform at?
It was Super Bowl.
This is the Super Bowl for those that don't know.
It was.
Yeah, I know you know, but
it was the Bills and the Cowboys. I know that. Super Bowl
or the year, which is
90,
go ahead.
91, right?
It's in January, so it might have been
January,
a newer year.
January 91?
January 1993, according to IMDb trivia.
No, yeah. I know it was the Cowboys and the Bills.
Okay. In what year was a survey declaring Michael Jackson the most famous person in the world, ahead of Pope John Paul II and then U.S. President Bill Clinton?
Let's see. That would have to be sometime
that gives
in the
you
90s.
A time period.
Yeah. Well, Clinton served two terms. JP2 died in 2005, so I have 10 years to choose. I don't know. I'm just going to say 94.
It was 1997, but he was probably the most famous person in the world even back then.
Yeah.
Why would we do one of his favorite movies? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, so we're going to do one last one. His memorial service from the Staples Center in what month of 2009 brought the internet's second largest day ever in terms of total traffic?
It was July.
It was July. Ding, 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 ding. All right, man. You have proven yourself a Michael Jackson aficionado, an expert. Don't forget, everybody watching, to go check out the previous video that he did on this and the reviews and all that stuff. His little short. It was all great. Thank you for having me. I am out of questions, man, that I trust.
No, thank you for coming. Like, again, this was probably the trial run for Gino and Oof go to the movies. I don't know, because there's a bunch of movies coming out this year. Mortal Kombat's on its way. I know I want to watch, definitely going to go watch Masters of the Universe. And both you and I think it's fair to say we're both MCU guys, and the big one in December, Doomsday. Oh, also Spidey's in there as well. So
I was about to say, you're skipping my dog, Spider-Man.
No, he's my dog too. Again, Street Fighters. Oh yeah, it's October as well. So this could be a happening thing. Gino and Oof go to the movies. But Gino, I want to thank you so much for coming on. Can you tell the fine folks where to find you here on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me at PapaGino0017 across all socials. But just go subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's not at PapaGino0017 because that's like one I made when I was like 20. But you can just search PapaGino0017 or Major Push Wrestling, and it will show up there. Speaking of Major Push Wrestling, live every Wednesday, 7 p.m., which we will be getting ready for here in just a little bit.
Absolutely, we will. So once again, thank you so much, Gino, for coming on. Again, check out his channel when you can. Check out, oh, you're watching it right now, but again, for more updates and all that, check out my channel, Gabbin with Oof. This was episode 21. More things to come. Like I said, definitely more movie reviews. A big one coming up to a big preview right now to just tell everybody about is this is the month of May, and I don't know if this is a coincidence or meant to be, but unfortunately, today was the sad news that billionaire Ted Turner, the creator of CNN, Cartoon Network, Captain Planet, if you want trivia notes as well, and also the owner of WCW passed away today. Today is May 6th, and in a couple weeks, it's going to be 30 years. Yes, we're getting old, Gino. 30 years since Scott Hall walked down the stairs, jumped the railing, asked for a mic, and declared war. But on who? And so I'm going to go into a deep dive of the 30th anniversary of the creation of the NWO in WCW. And again, today, the sad, tragic news of Ted Turner, former owner of WCW, passing away. He wanted to compete against Vince, and me and Gino can go into that more into that later on, but he wanted to compete. Bischoff said, give me prime time. And according to Bischoff, Turner said, you got it, Monday nights. And a little thing that you may have known started called the Monday Night War. We were both teenagers, and as of right now, the best time to be a wrestling fan, in my opinion, was the Attitude Era. So that's future projects. I'll have Gino on. I'll have more of the crew from the No DQ crew on talking about it. I'm going to do it in 3 parts. First part will be when Scott Hall debuted. Then the week after, he brings a big surprise, and then we'll wait for part 3 because that's when the immortal Hulk Hogan does the unthinkable and goes to the dark side and starts what was the second biggest boom in wrestling history. So I've been your friendly neighborhood Oof fan. That is my boy Gino. Thank you so much for watching. God bless. Take care of yourselves and everybody else. And may the King of Pop live forever. His music, his legacy, and good night, y'all.